Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Selamat tengah hari. Okey, untuk lecture hari ini kita akan cover Structural Design 1 and also Chapter 8. Kita akan cover dua chapter. Okay, for Chapter 7 first, which is the Structural Design. So this chapter assumes the reader has a working knowledge of mechanical engineering and part design, and therefore focuses primarily upon those aspects of structural design that are unique or particularly relevant to plastic. So before this, we have learned about the part design or product design, which is including the wall thickness, the requirement of the material, and also the bosses, rib, and so on. So we're going to use all the knowledge we are going to apply in the structural design consideration. So two main goals of this chapter are to show how to use the published data to address the unusual behavior of plastic in the part that we have designed, and to show how to take the advantage of the design freedom afforded by molding process to meet the structural requirement. Okay, look at the structural consideration in plastic. So when we designing the part made of plastics, be sure to consider not only the magnitude of mechanical loads, but also their types and duration. So more so than for most materials, plastic can exhibit the dramatically different behavior depending on whether the loading is instantaneous, long-term, or vibratory in nature. So temperature and other environment condition can also give the effect to the mechanical performance of the plastics. And the many aspects of plastic behavior, including viscoelasticity and sensitivity to a variety of processing-related factors, make predicting a given part's performance in a specific environment very difficult. So use structural calculation conservatively and apply adequate safety factor. So we strongly suggest prototype testing for all applications. 6. Manufacturing, assembly, and shipping. And plastic part design must also take into account not only the structural requirement, but also the less obvious mechanical loads and stresses that can occur during operation, such as manufacturing, assembly, and shipping. So these other sources of mechanical loads can often place the highest structural demands on the plastic parts. So we need to carefully evaluate all the structural loads the part must endure throughout its entire life cycle. Okay, the mechanical properties of plastics differ from metals in several important ways, such as less strength and stiffness. Secondly, mechanical properties are time and temperature dependent. Third, plastic typically exhibit nonlinear mechanical behavior, which is the stress strain curve, and the processing and flow orientation can greatly affect the properties. So we are going to discuss this point in this chapter. Okay, we'll look at the stiffness first. Okay, the designing parts with adequate stiffness can be difficult, particularly if your part was made of metal originally. So if your design needs to strength or stiffness of a metal part, you must account for the large difference between plastic and metal mechanical properties. Macam awak punya produk, awak nak combine dengan metal kan. So you have to consider the coefficient thermal tu. Okay. So By increasing the wall thickness may compensate for the lower stiffness of plastic resin. So in practice, however, the molding process limits wall thickness to approximately 0.25 inch in solid injection molded parts. So generally, good part design incorporates stiffening features and use part geometry to help achieve required stiffness and strength. Okay, yang ni dia punya property comparison of metal and plastic. So we can see that the modulus elasticity, tensile strength, yield strength, the Poisson ratio of the metal, okay, and plastic comparison kat sini. So we need to consider all these properties of between metal and plastic to promote the stiffness. Okay, next, viscoelasticity. Okay, what is the viscoelasticity? Okay, all the plastic will exhibit the viscoelastic behavior when placed under load. Okay, they will show both plastic and elastic deformation. So this dual behavior accounts for the peculiar mechanical properties found in plastic. And under mild loading conditions, plastic usually return to their original shape when the load is removed. Okay, bila kita letakkan plastik dekat load yang biasa-biasa, dia akan back to its original shape. But under the long-term effect, heavy loads or at elevated temperature, the same plastic, it will deform and behaving more like a high viscosity liquid. So this time and temperature dependent behavior occurs because the polymer chain in the part do not return to their original position when the load is removed. Okay, so look at this figure. Okay, this figure is about the Maxwell model. Okay, Maxwell model simulating the viscoelastic behavior. Okay, we can see that we have the spring A and spring B. Okay, spring A in the Maxwell model represent the instantaneous response to load and the linear recovery when the load is removed. So the dashboard A connected to the spring, okay, it simulates the permanent deformation that occurs over time. So the viscoelasticity causes most plastic to lose the stiffness, okay, and strength as the temperature increase. So as a plastic part is exposed to high temperature, okay, dia akan jadi more ductile, okay. Yield strength dia akan decrease dan dia punya strain at break also increases, okay, will increases. Okay, saya ulang lagi sekali. As a plastic part is exposed to high temperature, it become more ductile. Yield strength will decreases and the strain at break will increases. So plastic part also exhibit creep. Okay. So what is creep? Creep is the increase in deformation over time in parts under continuous load or stress. So kita dah cover pasal creep dengan stress relaxation ni. So kalau kita tengok creep ni adalah pemanjangan, okay, pemanjangan plastik tu bila kita letakkan dia di bawah continuous load ataupun stress. Okay, untuk stress relaxation is the reduction in stress over time in a part under constant strain or deformation. So to account for this behavior, designers should use data that reflect the correct temperature, load and duration to which the part will be exposed. Okay, we will look at the stress strain behavior. Okay, a simple tensile test determines the stress strain behavior of plastic materials, and the result is usually expressed as a curve. Okay, show the relationship between stress, the force per original cross-sectional area, and the strain, which is the percentage of change in length as a result of the force. So nearly linear, okay, linear graph at very low stress and strain level, the stress strain behavior of plastic tend to become increasingly nonlinear as this load increases. Okay. Kalau kita tengok when the load is increases, it will become nonlinear. So in this context, the term nonlinear means that the resulting strain at any particular point does not vary proportionally with the applied stress. Okay, this figure, it shows the typical stress strain curve for metal and unreinforced thermoplastic. So metal, kita tengok dekat metal dekat sini dia produce linear graph, kan? Metal dia boleh exhibit plastic behavior. So they typically function within the elastic range of mechanical performance, which is the Hawkian or elastic behavior. Because of the viscoelasticity, the unreinforced plastic material, it tends to exhibit non-linear behavior through much of their operating range. So even at low strain, plastic tend to exhibit some non-linear behavior. So as a result, using the tensile modulus or Young modulus derived from the stress over strain in the linear region of the stress strain curve, in structural calculation could lead to an error. So we need to calculate the second modulus. Okay, we need to calculate the second modulus, which represents the stiffness of a material at a specific strain or stress level. Okay, ni cara dikira second modulus. Okay, dia ambil point dekat actual curve dengan dia buat satu line linear dekat sini. Okay, so yang ni adalah nilai nilai yang dia punya yang modulus lah, yang sebenar. So the use of second modulus ni dia akan bincang dekat chapter lain lah, so kita tak tahu lah pasal ni, so don't worry about that. Okay, molding factors. So the injection molding process introduces stresses and orientation that affect the mechanical performance of plastic part. So the standard test bar used to determine most mechanical properties have low level of molding stress. So the high molding stress in an actual part may reduce certain mechanical properties such as the amount of applied stress a given part can endure. So always add reasonable safety factor and test prototype parts before actual production. In glass-free resin, okay, fiber orientation also affect the mechanical performance, which is the fatigue strength for a given fiber-free resin is often many times greater than the fiber are aligned lengthwise rather than perpendicular to the fatigue load. Okay, semua ni kita kena ambil tahu. Okay, kalau dia punya fiber orientation, mana tadi? Okay, fiber orientation ni kalau dalam bentuk fiber yang dalam parallel lagi tinggi daripada perpendicular. dia punya performance dia lagi